Hello and good evening. Today it is Saturday, September 12th, 2020. And for this video today, I will be sharing my thoughts on the brand spanking new uniforms that the Patriots have unveiled for the upcoming 2020 NFL season, which is already underway. The season actually started yesterday with the game between the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs as I'm filming this. So ignore this mock-up of the Boston Patriots throwback you see on the right because they have not worn this uniform since the NFL elected to adopt the one helmet rule. But I will get to this uniform on the right later on in the video because there is something interesting related to that uniform that I do need to talk about before I conclude this video later on. So these have been the Patriots uniforms, main home and away uniforms since 2000. And wearing these uniforms, the New England Patriots have won six Super Bowls with Tom Brady as their quarterback. And after a 20-year run, the Patriots have changed their uniforms. So ever since the NFL launched the Color Rush program for, I believe it was the 2016 season that the Patriots started wearing theirs. But instead of the Boston Patriots throwback as an alternate, their Color Rush was their alternate for the past 17. I think it was the past 4 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, that the Patriots have continued to wear their Color Rush uniforms as an alternate uniform. But starting this season, the Patriots have actually gone a step further. They've made it their full-time home uniform with a new matching away. Now, before I go any further, there is something else I want to mention on that note too. And it is this. The Patriots have made some small tweaks to that said Color Rush uniform for when they do wear it this year as now their new full-time home uniform. So first off, I am fairly certain that the Patriots did change their number font and maybe even their lettering font for their new home jersey. Well, Color Rush turned home jersey. Also, the socks have red and white on them now instead of it being completely monochromatic. But I'm going to get to that later on because it's still too monochromatic for myself. But now you look on the left, and this is the Patriots' new away uniform. So notice how the Patriots have a single red outline on the home numbers, and they have what looks like, I think it's a white outline and then a red. This isn't the best quality photo. I apologize for that. But speaking of photos, due to COVID-19, we have not been getting a lot of great videos as the NFL teams that have unveiled new uniforms for this season have had to really improvise and figure out ways to do their uniform unveilings. In fact, if I remember correctly, I hear the Cleveland Browns uniform unveiling photo shoot was done in somebody's garage. Yeah, as the old adage goes, desperate times call for desperate measures, eh? So the Patriots away uniform everything below the jersey is the same. Obviously, the helmet is unchanged. And personally, I'm glad. I actually feel it's a very nice helmet, and I don't even mind the red face masks, to be quite honest. Which usually, I'm more traditionalist in that regard. I do prefer silver or gray face masks, but the red face mask has never bothered me for New England. I'm not going to lie. But one thing about the Patriots' new uniforms is this. I'm glad that they've elected to stick with being primarily navy blue. That, in my opinion, is their primary color, and it should be now because of the 6 Super Bowl victories that they've had as a navy blue, silver, and red team. And I definitely feel that navy blue has to be their primary color from now on. you know, for that reason. I mean, I don't think any other quarterback in NFL history has won 6 Super Bowls. I think Tom Brady is the only one, and correct me if I'm wrong. But I do feel that these new uniforms are okay. There are some things that I'm not totally happy with. But I do think that going to the Color Rush jersey full-time and bringing in a matching away jersey and slightly, by the early looks of things, cleaning up the number font too, I do think that switching to the Color Rush jersey full-time with a matching away is an upgrade in my opinion. But as for the uniforms, unfortunately, I feel they are a little bit of a downgrade as uniforms. In terms of the jerseys, I do think the jerseys are an improvement, but the uniform top to bottom, there's some work there that I think should be done. But what I'm going to do now is, let's see. First off, I want to give you a side shot of the Patriots' new away uniform, and something that I do want to make a point of as well. Notice how the pants here are different than the pants here. This is the pant that they've been wearing with the striping style that they've been wearing with their Color Rush uniform for the past few years. But what the Patriots did do is they did change the striping, but because of the ongoing pandemic, their photo shoot, with the photo shoot, they weren't able to get the proper pants for it. So these pants that you see here with the thicker red stripes will be the pants that are used instead of this. So is that an upgrade? I do certainly feel that way. But now I want to do something. I want to go and look at some more photos here. So this is the back of the Patriots' new home uniform. And the thing about the Patriots' new uniform, or home uniform, I mean, to be specific, that I'm not happy about is the fact that New England has elected to go full-time monochrome. Now, if they wanted to do this maybe, say, 2 or 3 times a season, whatever, I could live with it. Even though I would prefer that teams stopped wearing monochrome even half as often as they have been. I mean, another terrible example of monochrome, in my opinion, that's just ridiculous is the New Orleans Saints. They've been wearing far too much monochrome black, and they honestly look like, in my opinion, they look like they're wearing yoga pants on the field, and it's a terrible look. And then you see a look like their Color Rush uniform, and you wonder why fans prefer that over their current crap. I mean, and yeah, I do think the monochrome is crap. I mean, with the Saints uniforms, I mean, sorry to get a bit off topic here, but if they at least were wearing their gold pants again, I could live with that over what they're doing right now, wearing monochrome white and monochrome black all the time. I hope that they're going to move to the Color Rush uniform with the original gold pants soon, full time. So they should. But that's another example of monochrome that really frustrates me. And then the Patriots adopt it. And I got to say this about the Patriots' last uniforms that they've now retired. One thing about them, you can say what you want about the side panels and all that, and I definitely agree if you feel that they were a product of their time. I totally agree. But the Patriots for the past 20 years had an excellent concept of a proper uniform. There was proper elements of contrast. Their home uniform was worn with silver pants. Their away uniform was worn with navy blue pants. And their socks had traditional striping. And I miss that about the Patriots' new uniforms. And that's something that disappoints me. Now, another thing that I don't like is the socks. And what really bothers me about the socks on both uniforms, especially the away uniform, is that I feel that the white should be flipped with switched and put where the navy blue is on the socks. If you flipped the white and the navy on the socks in this photo here, this away uniform would be totally fine. And if you pair it with the new proper pants that they're supposed to be wearing, I think that their new away uniform would actually be an upgrade, in my opinion. So, yeah, that is something that really disappointed me, especially with this uniform. Now, back to their home uniform, I would be able to tolerate the full-time monochromatic look a lot more if at least the socks contrasted the pants. Once again, if you had the white part of the sock on the top and the navy on the bottom, that would be enough to make this monochromatic uniform a lot more tolerable, in my opinion. So, another thing I want to pull up here, and here, I want to show you this photo of their now retired away uniform. Notice the balance, notice how the socks have striping, notice how the navy blue pants complement the white jersey and even the silver helmet. That is something that I will miss about the Patriots' last uniforms that you see here. I mean, do I think it was time for a cleanup of their uniforms? Honestly, I do, yes. But I will give the Patriots credit for one thing. They wore proper contrasting elements for the past 20 years with these uniforms. So you see that there, and now, actually, I'll come back to that in a bit. But sorry for the brief delay, folks. I just want to make sure I take time to show you some decent photos to give you an idea of the contrast of the Patriots uniform. So, you look at their now retired home uniform. See how they wore silver pants to complement the silver helmets and the navy blue jersey and the navy blue and white on the socks? It was a really, really good contrast. Now, this uniform wasn't perfect by any means. And it still had the side paneling on side piping on the sides, or the piping on the sides of the jersey, I mean. But you know what? Notice the contrast. The silver helmet with silver pants, blue jersey with blue socks. See, this is something that's disappearing from the NFL, and I think it's something that I wish more people would give teams a bit of flack over because that's what I hate about monochromatic uniforms, is that it takes away that beautiful contrast of the classic football uniform. And then you look at their now home uniform, their color rush uniform, and I do like that they've at least changed the socks and the pant striping too. But you see what I mean about it being a one-piece jumpsuit? I hate that style. And then you see the Patriots' old uniform with silver pants and contrasting socks, and it looks so much better. And even here, I'll even pull up this old photo that I just saw right here. But even at times when the Patriots did wear monochromatic navy blue, which this looks bad in my opinion, and I'm glad they haven't worn it in a long time with this particular uniform, notice how they at least wore contrasting socks. Makes it more tolerable. But still, now this is where I jump into something else. I believe this came from Paul Lucas of UniWatch.com. But supposedly the Patriots at one point were considering silver pants with their new home uniform. And this is a mock-up of their uniforms here. But you see what I mean about silver pants to complement the silver helmet. Why the freaking hell did the Patriots not use these pants? I'm baffled. But then you look at their away uniform. The pants look great, the striping looks great, and if they would have just flipped the white for the navy blue on the socks, where the white was on top and the navy was on the bottom, their away uniform would be excellent in my opinion. And as for their new home uniform with the silver pants, see, if they were actually using silver pants, the new sock style that they've elected to go with would look great with the home uniform. It would work. But with this style, with going monochromatic navy blue, it doesn't work. It looks like they're wearing capris, and or yoga pants even. It's not a good look, and it's something about this new monochromatic trend that just drives me nuts. So also in this mock-up, notice how the numbers were even on the sleeves at one point instead of the logo, and notice how the logo is still on the sleeves of the away uniform. So that's another thing that I want to get to right now. But one more comparison I want to show you viewers is notice the contrast of the old uniform compared to the new one. Now, is the new jersey better in my opinion? Yes, I like it better. As I say that though, I never disliked these silver stripes along the upper sleeve shoulder area of the jersey. But I will say I love the traditional style of the new jersey, but I just can't get behind the monochromatic look full time. And especially when the socks are a simple flip of white and navy away from making the monochromatic uniform a lot more tolerable. But imagine this uniform with silver pants. It would be a major upgrade over their now retired home uniform on the left if they would have gone with silver pants. But another thing I want to pull up here, and I want to pull up the side-by-side comparison here. Sorry, folks. Darn. There we go. There's the proper photo. But there's something else here that I want to nitpick as well. Notice how there's no shoulder numbers on these jerseys. And this is something about the modern jersey template in football that is something that I'm not a fan of. But more and more, it seems like the shoulder numbers are becoming less and less used. I noticed this has been a problem in recent years with the Canadian Football League, and now you're seeing this even in the NFL. And I've always been a believer that shoulder numbers not only are a good thing to have for announcers, but also at the same time, I mean, I know we have 4K televisions and all that, but shoulder numbers too, in my opinion, actually offer a little bit of additional contrast for the uniform itself too. At least that's how I look at it. But with Nike's Vapor template, I understand that the modern football templates, whether it's Nike or Adidas or even, I believe, Under Armour still makes jerseys for football, they're more form-fitting. So they're very, very, very tight compared to the way they used to be 20 years ago, for example. But what I think the Patriots should have done is to accommodate the more form-fitting templates of 2020, they could have even made the shoulder stripes a little bit thinner and had some numbers on the shoulders. Now, last season, I noticed that the Carolina Panthers shoulder numbers were super small. But if I'm not mistaken, I hear that Nike actually managed to fix their uniforms so that their shoulder numbers would be at a decent normal size again. If the Panthers can do that, why can't New England do that? Now, I've even heard the suggestion from some fans saying that they should have considered making the red striping, the middle stripe red and the outer stripes navy blue, and same vice versa with this uniform, making the center stripe red and the outer stripes white. And I think that's to match the original Boston Patriots uniforms, if I'm not mistaken. But now, do I think that would look good? Yeah. I mean, I think they're fine the way they are. But I actually think that would have been really cool, too, if New England did that. Now, you see here, actually, why don't I pull a photo of that up? That's a good idea. So, I'll pull out this Boston Patriots throwback that we saw about 11 years ago. Notice how the striping was royal red royal. Now, if New England did navy red navy here, I think it would look good, but I gotta say, I do like it the way it is. But as for the home uniform, you see how it's red, white, red. Now with their throwback Boston Patriots jersey, it was white, blue, white. Now, do I think that would have looked good on their new home uniform? If it was white, red, white, sure. But this is actually a case where I do think it's fine the way it is. I do like it. But one more thing, too, that is, sorry to be nitpicking here, but I wish that the stripes weren't truncated and cut off like they are nowadays. That's something I also miss about older football jerseys is that even whether it's the Patriots here or the Indianapolis Colts, the striping used to go all the way down and around. Obviously, it's impossible to do that now on the modern uniform templates in football, but I do think that would be really cool if they could find a way to reincorporate that someday. But do I think the jerseys themselves are an improvement? Absolutely. But this insistence on going monochromatic, in my opinion, is a major mistake. See, for the Patriots away uniform, they needed to flip the white with the navy blue on the socks, and it would be perfect that way. As for the home uniform, if they would have elected to wear those silver pants like that mock-up that I showed earlier, that home uniform would be terrific. But I definitely think they need to find a way to incorporate shoulder numbers again. But overall, these uniforms, I do think they could have been better. And the monochromatic trend is one that I wish would go like the dinosaurs. It's not pretty. And I honestly feel that the lack of silver pants with their new home uniform was a big mistake. Not going to lie. But one more thing I want to mention before I wrap up this video here real quick is that the Patriots did mention that they are working with the NFL on potentially being able to wear their Boston Patriots throwback uniforms again. And they said that in future seasons, something along the lines that they're hoping that in future seasons they can bring this throwback out again as an alternate uniform. And I hear that the NFL is planning on ending their one helmet rule after this season in time for the 2021 NFL season next year. So if that's the case, if you like this uniform, you might not be seeing the Patriots keep it in the vault for much longer. And hopefully they do wear it again. It's a great uniform. And would I want the Patriots to go full-time retro again? No. But I do think that as an alternate once or twice a season, that's a beautiful cherry on the cake. And if they could just fix their uniforms with the socks and the pants, especially with the home jersey, the Patriots, in my opinion, could have perfect home and away uniforms and a throwback that's a perfect cherry on the cake. But anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap it up at this point. I'd love to hear how other people feel about the Patriots' new uniforms. I think the jerseys are an upgrade, but the uniforms are a bit of a downgrade. A little bit too monochromatic for my taste, and I'm not a fan of the lack of shoulder numbers, or at least numbers on the sleeves of their jerseys, like before. Or, sorry, not before, but I do miss the shoulder numbers. That's something that I wish they would have found a way to incorporate into their new jerseys. That's a big miss too in my books. But overall, the jerseys are an upgrade. The uniforms, in my opinion, are a bit of a downgrade. Not a fan of the monochrome at all. But I will say this, though. I do think that with a flip of their socks, like I mentioned earlier, their away uniform could be terrific. And if they would just use the silver pants in that other mock-up right here. I mean, the Patriots are a few tweaks away as far as I'm concerned from having basically perfect home and away uniforms as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, folks, that's a wrap. I hope you did enjoy this video if you stuck around. And until my next video, you guys, take care. And of course, as always, folks, bye for now.